Okay, this is probably the only moment in history where you're gonna see all my dive gear together, because usually it's spread around Switzerland, like in several locations. And today I got... Wait, there's a mosquito. Got it. So, I managed to get it all together and I'm gonna give you a little tour now. I hope I didn't forget anything. Ready? So, here are my suits. I have stuff like this, rather to snorkel, or like, yeah, it's a rash guard. It keeps you warm, take away the sun, so it's pretty good for warm waters. And then of the same materials, I have these ones, which are basically two pieces that you can put just alone or below a suit. If you're diving cold water, you know what I'm meaning. And then we come to the suits. I have a 3mm, a 5mm, but this one is actually really, really warm. So it's really close to a semi-dry. I'm not joking. And this is a semi-dry and actually a 7mm wetsuit. And then I have my dry suit. I should probably change the neck soon. As you can see, I tried to fix it, but I should pay more attention with nails. But I anyway didn't find myself really good with neoprene, so I will anyway have to switch it. And then of course below I wear, well, starting with this one. It's a base layer, it's a two-piece as well, and actually keeps the humidity of the body away from your skin, so keeps you warm. Even if it's really thin, it's really warm. And then usually I put this one on top. This is extremely warm. Like in summer, sometimes I'm not so looking forward to put this below my dry suit because it's too warm, but then I'm happy below when I'm in the water. This is the same technology they use for astronauts to keep them warm in space, so it's good enough for me for ice diving. And then I know it's not very sexy and it's definitely the anti-fashion, but I also have my poncho here, which is super comfy to change on a boat or on a public place, and you can even dry yourself, so it's perfect after the dive. And then of course I need gloves. I have my dry gloves that I use with my dry suit. They fit with this ring system, so like something like this. And I have wet gloves for all the other kind of dives. And then the hood that fits to every suit. And shoes. What would a girl be without shoes? I have this kind of boots that I use when I dive with wetsuits. Like, for example, like this, you have an open fit, you put this one. Or the one that fits directly the dry suit, because you see here you have sort of a foot as well. It's neoprene, it's isolating, this is waterproof, like water doesn't come in here, but you would damage it if you would walk, especially with the heavy gear on top, directly with this one, so you protect them with shoes. And it's also much comfier because, yeah, they are a bit harder and thicker. So yeah, these are my boots for the dry suit, and these ones are for wetsuit dives. Back there I have some weights. I have normal weights like in a belt. For example, when I dive with wetsuits, you just put it normally. When I dive dry, I don't really use a belt because it's enough for me to wear the V-weight. So this one, that you basically put in between the tanks here, and when you put then the wings and the back plate, basically you screw it on top like this, it's then fixed and doesn't move anywhere. So this is the only weight I have. You cannot really deploy it in case of emergencies, so it's a bit a disadvantage, but I would have a dry suit, which means another part filled with gas that would help me if my BCD is not working or whatever, but it's pretty new. So this is my BCD. It's like a donut, basically. And you would fit this like that on the tanks. So you have something like this. And then you screw it close. These are my tanks. I even brought the tanks. And then, of course, all the rest is were just a suit and like what I can wear. But then when we dive, we need a lot of other stuff. For instance, fins. Where would I go without them? My babies. And especially if you dive with a dry suit and then you have to change and maybe it's even cold, dirty, wet. You don't want to wet your feet before entering a dry suit. So, dry suit diver, this is your best friend. It's a changing mat. You basically just, you know, open it, put it on the floor, and then you can change your suits and everything. And you can, of course, do it if you're a wetsuit diver too, but I don't think I know wetsuit divers that use it. Let's assume I'm changed. I'm wearing my dry suit. I'm taking my fins with me, of course. And as you can see, these are open ears fins that adjust to any kind of boots. So I can just easily put them on, even if I'm fully geared. And then here are my regulators with manometer. I have two separate first stages because I dive in cold water mainly. So when I go to the sea, I usually, like tropical sea, I mean, I usually switch them to an octopus, which is much lighter, comfier to use. But if I dive in colder waters, I like to have two separate first stages. One with the manometer. This is for the dry suit. You will have to attach it to the valve so that it's connected to the tank and you can always inflate it. And my backup regulator. Now, this has a bungee here so that I can have it constantly ready, like if something happened, I know I just need to do this. And of course this bungee is then with the hood and the suit and everything is the perfect size for me to more or less stay in place in case I am having a problem. So like my buddy could put this up and it would more or less help him to keep it in place. And then of course I need a primary regulator, which in my case is this one. You see has a very long hose here. This is helpful, for example, in conditions like ice diving or when you're not in open waters, or just if you're diving with the setup I have. I will explain you later still, but this very long hose can also be given to the body. You usually give your primary regulator because it's the one you know doesn't have a problem, right? So the other one probably is without gas, needs help, and I know this one is working. I pass it directly, and it's long enough that we can swim next to each other without having to be very, very close. And then, of course, the hose for the BCD. Now, why I need a long hose other than what I explained, even though I'm not doing cave diving, is because when this is mounted, this would be how the regulator looks, right? It's still pretty long, and it's also a bit embarrassing. In my video of the sea, you see the hose is a bit too long. This is because I don't have the torch. Usually what I do, I fix this part below the canister of my torch. Let me show you my torch. I'm showing every detail. I have a handle torch, but lately using just my new baby, a canister light. So the canister would be fixed here on the belt on my BCD, and this one would be in my hand. So here below this canister, I would then fix and pass the long hose of my primary regulator. So this is my torch. Let's stay with necessary stuff first. Computer. very important. And if you're diving dry, remember to not lock it below your dry suit. If you don't know what, you should watch my feed, it's in there. Masks and everything, it's here, backup masks as well. Then I have another of this kind. I have a lot of stuff, but it's all necessary, I swear. These are the socks and the gloves I put when I dive dry, so you just don't dress normally. You also wear thick and warm socks, and even though it's warm maybe outside, below it's really cold, don't forget it. So you wear gloves below your dry suit gloves, because the dry suit gloves isolate just for the water, so they're just waterproof, but they don't really isolate for the cold, so you need something. And always attached to the spool S&B. And now, like, my text side comes out, the knife and the wet note. You can have a look inside my wet note. So here you see it's completely empty, because I thought if I'm in an emergency, maybe I want to write on these pages. But here in the back I wrote some tables that I need, or I hope I will never need, but in case I do, I have them with the compression calculations or gas consumption. With this you can communicate to your buddy or do sudokus in the deco stop. And then I have, of course, a snorkel for snorkeling. I know many of you guys will now complain, but I don't wear a snorkel when I go diving. I cannot. My best friend. And here I have a bag that you can just wear in a pocket or attach somewhere, and you see how big it is. This is to theoretically collect debris. Please don't use it to collect shells. It's just to collect stuff that doesn't belong in the ocean or where you're diving. And then you can pack it back again, and look how small it is. Okay, then I have some spared anti-fog that I keep here for my new mask, or in case I need to switch mine. My dive log, you should always keep an updated logbook. I'm doing my best to improve it. Oh, and this one is waterproof, so I can leave it with all my stuff if it is not completely dry. And then to the less necessary stuff, but still very important, my dive folks with the finger cut for dry suit gloves. And then I found out a few months ago just that this one, none of the others I have, but just this one works without the finger cut, and it's so much easier. But yeah, to record all the content that you guys really like. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm pretty sure I forgot something, but no, I think it's everything. If I forgot something, just write it in the comments, and I hope you enjoyed this tour. And yeah, this is all my gear. Bye bye. I forgot my fins. I of course also have fins for wetsuit diving, like for example in tropical regions where I don't need open heel or boot. Like these are my summer fins. Okay, I think now it's everything.